I think the little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter
in some ways, and he's young.
Yeah, and ambitious.
You know, it's such a departure, Victor. They were mocking him on the campaign trail. All we heard over and over was that he was weird. They had that fat meme that he, you know, took in great stride here. And now you have Psaki there. Oh, poor Usha is scared. What I think is this is a lot about changing their talking points because they know it's a winning agenda from MAGA. They know their bench in 2028, while a far ways away, is so weak, they have to demonize. They have to create a derangement syndrome now against JD Vance. Are you hearing that from her, and is there more to come like this?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot more. I think they thought when he was selected as vice president, he brought nothing to the ticket because Ohio was going to be won. He was a white male. There was no diversity. But they didn't really appreciate that he's one of the best explicators of the MAGA agenda. In repartee, back and forth, he eviscerated the media every time he got on television. He was a real force multiplier of the Trump ticket. And they're afraid of him. And now they're thinking, you know, we were betting on MAGA is inseparable from Trump. He was the sun, and without him, there'll be no sunlight. And then people like Rubio and JD Vance come along and they think, oh my God, this thing could go on and on and on with this new populist Republican Party. And they're terrified of it. And so they feel that maybe she's too sophisticated for this Appalachian-born Vance or whatever, but they're terrified that the MAGA will go beyond Donald Trump. And I think they should be terrified because I think it will.
I think so, too. And I think you're starting to hear that change. You know what people should be worried about is Mamdani. You know, tonight is the final debate in New York City, Victor. There's this image of him with the imam from Brooklyn linked to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And I want to get your reaction to a piece on Breitbart where a top 9/11 lawyer says, frankly, we can't let Mamdani near City Hall. An insult to every 9/11 survivor and family member, that photo. And he says the first responders, the fact that he is choosing to pose with a man like this, he questions, he says, how can anyone in the 9/11 community support that mayor? He flat out says it's scary. And we know Andrew Cuomo has said before, Victor, well, if Mamdani wins, I would leave New York. I would move to Florida. How nice. Most people can't pick up their lives. And we're looking at a real possibility for a Mamdani mayor in New York City.
Yeah, the imam wasn't just a radical. He was an unindicted co-conspirator. So the argument, the indictment said that he knew about the plot, the first plot to blow up the World Trade Center. And had he got his way, they would have blown it up before 9/11. So this idea that Mamdani meets with him and thereby condones him or mainstreams him is really scary. And that's superimposed on all of the other rhetoric, the anti-Semitic rhetoric, the anti-Israel. He's going to arrest Netanyahu. He doesn't really think you should disarm Gaza. He has no interest in the Middle East one way or the other, he says, but he wants to arrest Netanyahu when he comes to New York. He's a very dangerous guy. And the problem, Bianca, as you know better than I do, that they don't have a centrist Giuliani or Bloomberg they can rally around because all of the percentages show that he doesn't have 50% of the vote. But they can't, you know, Silva, he's a good conservative in some way, but he has baggage. He can't win, I think. And then the conservatives say, do I really want to vote for Cuomo, who was responsible for these mass deaths, sexual harassment? And he's lost a step. When you used to see Andrew Cuomo, he was vigorous and feisty, combative. He looks like he's resigned to losing. He doesn't seem the same person, like he's beaten or something.
Well, tonight is the debate.
Yeah, he's an anemic candidate. So it's not so much Madami's going to win.
Better candidates.
Yeah. I think the problem is not so much Madami's going to win, but anybody would win against those two candidates on the left. And that's what's scary because he's going to sneak in as a socialist communist because there's no rational opposition that people can moderates,
there's still
conservative.
Time.
I hope so.
And it is weird. And, you know, we know elections have consequences, as you know full well, in California. Victor Davis Hanson, such a pleasure to have you, sir. Come back and see us soon.
Thank you for having me.